This is the director's commentary. You are the director. You should speak first.
Hey, I'm Gavin Free.
Hello, I'm Bernie Burns.
I directed and you wrote it, right?
Hello, I'm the former director of Project Red vs. Blue, Bernie Burns.
We'll talk about this opening shot. Anyone who's used the Save Films feature in Halo will know that this is actually way higher than you can usually get the camera in this map.
Why don't you explain how you did that? Because you showed up here from jolly old England.
That's true.
And you instantly showed us stuff about Halo 3 that after a year and a half of working with it, we had never seen before.
There's this feature in Halo 3 called Pan Cam, which lets you control the camera in theater in a different way, and you can actually set the speed. And if you set the speed super high, you can actually just crash through the top of the map, or, you know, out the side through the barriers. And you can only do that when there's no characters on the map. And I wanted to do a shot where it like swept down onto Griffin Simmons from that height, but I couldn't find a way to do that. I like that shot.
And how'd you do that?
I had Sarge reload his shotgun next to the turret, so it
Is
looked
it
like...
sped up, or that's how fast?
That's how fast it was.
And why don't we explain what the difference is? This is a miniseries Relocated that was directed entirely by Gavin Free.
Yes.
And
This shot actually right there, the shot of Sarge in the background, they were both being controlled by me. I had to plate those together because I couldn't find anyone to help me at that time.
And you did that with most of it, right? You
Yeah,
directed...
I tried to do as much of it on my own as I could. I love those panels off the side of those drop pods for weapons. They serve like no function in the game whatsoever, but they kind of look good as just debris and stuff.
Yeah, they are. They are just a great debris object.
So this is the first shot of our caboose being creepy and weird, which is a recurring theme of Relocated, right?
I like to get the waterfall in that shot. That's nice.
Yeah. I slowed down the sound of the power drain there just to make it a bit more creepy. That's what it is, power drain.
I don't know if Caboose is being creepy and weird as much as he's being just mysterious.
Mysterious.
He's just naturally creepy and weird.
He's creepy when he talks.
He's doing it in a mysterious way now. And how did you find directing a scene like this? Like, one of the reasons why we asked Gav to direct these episodes was, Gav, you were directing all of our Griffball highlights.
Right. I was used to doing a lot of action and stuff, which surprisingly is easier in Halo 3 than doing the dialogue stuff. Like this scene where there's 3 people talking and trying to not cross the axis and frame everyone right. It's a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. I had to reshoot some stuff.
Yeah, just the narrative geography of setting people up
Yeah,
to, you know.
just general scene flow I don't really have much experience in. Also, that exploded warthog kept disappearing, so I had to shoot around it as best I could in this scene. But I think my experience in the game helped me out, like especially with building stuff, like in Forge where I built the stand to hold the warthog upside down and stuff.
Well, also, you've seen every single episode of Red vs. Blue,
Yes,
and so you're familiar with...
I'm
the way it
familiar with
works.
the general style of the show, and I think that helped.
I mean, I would say that very few people noticed any kind of difference until we told them.
Yeah,
that
and then
some
everyone says, yeah, I noticed the difference all along.
People were very complimentary. They were complimenting
I know,
me on my action shots. I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you. I like that a lot.
I had to reshoot that shot, in fact, because Halo 3 sometimes stutters when you're moving the camera, and the playback sometimes stutters too.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you? I'm sure it does no such thing.
It doesn't.
It's all
I was
user
lying.
error. It's all you and your thumbs.
I was actually controlling both characters at the same time here, and I think it shows. It's kind of...
I thought you did a great job. I thought it was fun to watch you do it because it reminded me a lot of doing Season 1 on Halo.
You saw me struggle.
I did. And it was enjoyable.
It was a lot of fun, though. I really like doing this.
Great, we'll keep doing it. I can use the downtime.
That's the shot there. We turned off the grav lifts. I actually discovered how to do that on accident when I hit the end of my save film and I rewound back to the bit I wanted, and I went over to the grav lifts and they just weren't on. I just had it paused and then I pressed play and it started the grav lift.
And play.
Episode 2.
This is episode 2 of miniseries.
Did you notice that on the intro to every episode, I faded into the video without fading to black first? And you actually picked me up on that, but I was like, that's how I want to do it.
Yeah, but I just brought out stuff to your attention that was different.
Well, I did it in the first episode with a spacescape.
And this was a very different, shot. I mean, we don't typically do this kind of thing, but it was very cool.
Thanks.
going through
That's a bit of
Simmons'
vertigo
head.
effect on that one.
But the only reason I brought that up was I just wanted to point out to you that you were fading into the video and you weren't fading to black
Yeah,
and then
it
fading up.
It was deliberate because in the first episode I fade into black, but it's space. It's not just black screen. And I did that by climbing up to the top of Valhalla again.
And I just go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, what's up? This is Jeff. I just want to come and say my favorite part about this video is
It's always funny to do a physical joke on a audio commentary.
I bet the audience loved the fact that you did that.
Well, get out, shithead, get out. Nobody asked you.
I remember when we were shooting this, actually, you started talking to me for like 40 minutes about something dumb. And I had to fast forward for a long time to get to my head bobs. I forgot that I was still like in the same game when I did this.
Why do you assume that whatever I was talking to you about was dumb? It could have been
It was probably something
helpful, intelligent. Nice flower,
dumb.
by
My
the way.
flower shot. You gotta love the nature and foliage in Halo 3.
You know, this reminds me, seeing like the different layers with the bushes on the ground there.
Yeah.
Reminds me of those 3D images that nobody can see. And we actually talked at one point about
Doing
making
a 3D episode.
Yeah, 3D episode.
It would have been good.
A 3D clip,
Yeah.
not a whole episode.
So the whole Griff climbing up the top of the thing was just a dumb idea that I had, wasn't it? And you wrote it in
Right.
to the show.
That was some of the pre-work we did when you were still over in the UK.
That's when I was still back in England. And I was just walking around Valhalla thinking, well, what can we do in this, as a script idea? Because the whole plot of it was Reds just doing nothing, with some downtime, right?
Right. This is basically the story of how the Reds got their Gauss Warthog
Yeah.
and the return of Donut, and now it's also how they got their holographic Danger Room.
Which came up very late in production. We were already halfway through shooting episode 3 before we came up with that.
Yeah, well, they came out with the maps.
Because we couldn't get a Gauss Warthog in Valhalla. You just can't put one down.
Yeah. Yeah, but we, the way I normally write Red versus Blue is I start with little ideas, like Caboose throwing the grenade into the wall or
Right.
Church bouncing off the airlifts.
And then just write around it.
Again, like, I know these are great funny moments and then build out from there and, like, find a way to fit them into the overall story. And Gav had sent me, I said, do you have anything like that? Any just ideas for something you'd like to try? And he did this whole thing with, I think he actually used Caboose on top of the base.
It was actually just a blue guy in Forge.
Yeah.
I love that. Nathan did a great job with that ladder.
I always wondered if that joke was going to carry because the setup was on the previous episode. The
Yeah.
way the scripts fell together. And so Gav sent me these test clips of the character up on top and said, I'd like to do something up here with some height differences. And I said, that's cool. So just wrote that in where the bases were out of power. That's a nice shot. I like
Thanks.
that. Nice and smooth, too.
I'd also like to point out in that previous shot where Simmons and Sarge are on the ground, I had to Photoshop the grav lift. I mean the man cannon out in every single one. Because
Really? How many?
I forgot it's behind there. Well, I did like maybe 3 different setups, and I had to, play over those maybe 3 or 4 times.
See, in that shot there, that was a great shot. The one with Griff way off, and you can see the whole lake and everything.
The thing about the characters, when they have their guns lowered, their head range is really reduced. Like, if you actually looked where they're looking, they're not looking at each other. I'd say Simmons and Sarge are actually looking somewhere like halfway up the base.
If that,
And
right?
yeah, if that. And Griff is looking way over them. But shooting them from like down and like above angles,
This
you
shot
kinda
here,
cheat it.
Griff is looking further down because he's got his gun out.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I just had him lower his gun for that line. He was being aggressive.
It works. It works great. And so I'd say this episode was probably the one where I was basically just using all the ideas for what you wanted to do
Yeah.
and for setting it up, and then it becomes like a little bit more collaborative for episode 4, which is probably why it took about 100 times longer to make episode 4 than any other episode.
Yeah, it did.
Play. That joke never gets old.
Saying play at the beginning. Okay, episode 3. This shot was
Awesome.
actually done in reverse because there's no way I could have gone all the way up here and landed on Griff like that. It would have been impossible. Well, it
then
would have
how'd you
taken
get
ages.
the smooth motion at the beginning? I did not know that.
The smooth motion at the beginning.
Where you slide diagonally up the
Oh,
thing.
because I was going down the base, I hit something diagonal and it slid the camera sideways. So I thought, yeah, I'll use
I
that.
had no idea. That's awesome.
You learn new stuff every day. I couldn't actually get Hornet debris up into that hole without it disappearing. So I just used the casual thing of putting in camping stools and weapon drop pods as my debris again. This was a joke that we came up with while I was shooting this.
Yep.
I was like, hey, because I had him throw a grenade and I liked how the shot looked from above.
And
We
it didn't
we
even
wrote it
get
in.
close.
And that's literally as high as he can throw from the ground. This is maybe my favorite part of Relocated. This ridiculously big explosion. That shot with Griff going up with the bolt, it's actually something that happens in the game. If you stand a guy looking down into the base, the blue bolt will kill him and fly him way up into the air. My camera was actually positioned as high as I could put it in that shot.
I like that one when Griff is falling into the sky and it just looks like he's ridiculously
Yeah.
high up.
He was. Now, originally in the script, he was going to go through the floor. Like, we were going to do it in post, and he was going to make a
hole.
Griff-shaped hole in the ground. But we found that just freezing the frame on his landing was funnier.
It definitely gives you a nice feeling of impact.
Yeah. Sound effects help.
And more creepy caboose.
Yeah.
And this song, you really like this song, right?
Yeah, this bit of music was called Pelican Down. You know, actually, one of my favorite things about doing this was looking through Nico's music folder and picking out all the different bits of music I wanted to use. Now that light effect was achieved with a mongoose, which was actually on top of the pelican, and I then plated it out. And then we put down a regenerator for that green glow. You'll see here the blue bolt fire again in the background, and I actually worked out that it fires every 50 seconds. So there's a little fact.
And as I recall, this was a little bit of a source of frustration for you because in this whole episode, this upcoming scene got more comments, I think, than anything else.
Yeah.
Was Sarge talking to Lopez on the radio.
Yeah, Sarge can understand Lopez speaking Spanish now.
Well, you know, Sarge has always been able to communicate with Lopez.
Yeah.
We got a question about that about 3 years ago at PAX is, how come Sarge can sometimes understand Lopez and other times he can't? I said...
He's very selective in what he understands.
Exactly. It's what it is. It's Sarge choosing to understand or choosing not to understand it.
I think it's because he was directly responding to the words Lopez was saying as opposed to just talking past him. You know?
About the same thing.
About the same thing.
In episode 4, it was no issue because they were just talking in generalities.
Yeah.
And even though he was kind of responding to Lopez, but on the radio, yeah, I guess people just couldn't hack it. But I always said it's like Han Solo communicating with Chewbacca. How do they possibly do that? But it's just like these are the mysteries.
just accept
of,
it.
Yeah.
But
intergalactic communication.
That was all the comments on episode 3. I don't think anyone actually saw any other bit of episode 3. They just saw this scene because that's all everyone wrote about.
Even after your big explosion and all that stuff, it seemed to be the main thing people wanted to talk about.
That's the thing that people most noticed is one of the changes was that sort of slow motion spin I did on that explosion. That's what people identify with me, I think, for the difference.
You know, I just got to say that, you know, regardless of who's directing or whatever, if you're into RVB because of the highly detailed continuity, you should be ready to be severely disappointed because we have a history of, you know, kind of tossing out continuity just for a really good joke. Like, we just thought it was funny to say, you know, offhand, oh, by the way, we killed Sister.
Yeah.
You know?
And also the fact that they were ice skating when they were kids, even though they're from Hawaii. Right?
I brought that up to Gav. I said, you know, this ice skating joke is funny, but, you know, in one of the previous DVDs, Griff is listed as being from Honolulu, Hawaii, where I don't know if something happens in the future, but you're not doing much ice skating as kids in Honolulu, Hawaii.
It's a very questionable joke in a few ways. Also, because they were young, Griff said, and she got pregnant. How young are we talking?
Well, yeah, that seemed a little weird, too.
Yeah.
Maybe she fell through the ice at, like, the ice rink at the mall or something.
Maybe.
She fell through that ice.
And this episode was the week we received the mythic maps, so we were able to take advantage of those.
First
in
Lopez
the upcoming scene.
in Halo 3 as well.
It's right. We were actually confused because he looks totally a different color.
He looks totally
It's
dark.
much darker brown.
But, you know, we thought about lighting him up, but that just seemed like
Yeah.
gentrification to us. So
This is
we kept it real.
a fade here. We are now in Sandbox,
This is awesome.
going down into the crypt. I tried to hide the fade as best I could, and I think it worked pretty well.
I thought you did it great. I couldn't tell.
Yeah. I wonder at which point, you know, do people realize that we're not in Valhalla anymore?
I think when that thing goes by, that brown thing goes
yeah.
by.
Like the rusty orange. That was 2 shots laid over each other.
My son JD got obsessed with that shot.
He liked
wanna
that
know
shot. I was glad.
How you
I had
made
fun
that.
explaining it to him.
Yeah.
We cut a hole in one box, and then I moved the camera up with them all standing in a separate box, and I just laid them over each other. It's kind of hard to explain.
Crazy thing about that map is this room is how tall this room is.
Yeah. Now this shot with the grid, it's worth mentioning that the grid is only on the ground in Forge. So I had to go and shoot that plate in Forge, and then go into a custom game where there's no grid and match the camera exactly to the previous shot using the coordinates, which is another feature in Halo that you can turn on.
Sounds easy.
Press a weird combination of buttons,
How
but
long
it
did
took
that
me
take?
about an hour to line up the camera there.
Play.
Episode 4.
I love this opening
I
shot.
like the fact that he taps the wall there. I mean, I wasn't going to use that take because of this, but where the Warthog landed was a good position. And the way I shot this was, the good thing about Halo 3 theater mode is that you can look at where something's going to end and then just rewind and have it land there, because you know exactly where the Warthog is going to land. I think maybe that took me maybe 6 or 7 goes to get that camera move right there.
One of the things that would be impossible in Halo or Halo 2. Speaking
Right.
of Halo, the reason why is you would have to get the camera work right and the Warthog right in the same
At the
take.
same time, right. And I love this.
Now we cut one of these.
We did. I love that shot though, because Sarge is mentioning how clean the base is, even though there's blood like coming out of Griff's mouth and ass.
Apparently, an allergic reaction
Yeah.
is vomiting and shitting blood.
If you
I
ever
always
want,
have that.
if you ever want to make Halo 3 look good, cut to Halo 1 and 2 beforehand.
No kidding, right?
Yeah. I had a lot of trouble filming in this room. Like, it was hard to keep track of where everyone was standing. Like, the geography of the shot, because every single wall looks identical. And there's
And
no...
it's square.
And
It's a
it's square.
symmetrical room.
Yeah, exactly. I also had a problem with Lopez being insanely dark. The corners of this map are very dark.
But you cheated some of that later, and I thought it worked well.
Yeah. We reshot some of the shots with Mongoose Light as well.
And you added in a lot of sound effects, like
Yeah.
the servo noise there.
Now that effect is done with in Forge. You can place a spawn point, which are the blue circles on the ground, or you can also place a starting point, which has that weird hologram effect.
It's cool.
And I just gradient wiped between the two of them. Now that down the barrel shot is actually a pipe in high ground, and when I was watching the reconstruction DVD, I thought that'd make a great gun barrel. So I wanted to use that at some point. Nathan helped me on that.
And I like the subtlety at which you showed that the Jeep stalls every single
Yeah.
time the gun fires.
I mean, we didn't show it stall every time, but we put the sound in because people know what's going on by that point.
because they took this technology from the EMP from Reconstruction.
Right. Caboose seems to have everything sorted now.
I remember we went back and re-recorded this because we didn't think it was creepy enough.
Yeah.
And there's a slight subtle difference here. The hollow Griffs are a different color orange than Griff, just so it kind of mentally
Right.
helps you keep
That's
them apart.
only when they're standing though, because to spawn a Griff inside the starting point, you have to be in Forge, and you can't get a coral color in Forge. You have to be orange. But
Well,
that
you're
but
not
that Griff
gonna
running
mistake that Griff for
that
the
Griff
other-
running behind is a different color to regular Griff.
Yeah. And later when Griff goes up to the line of them, you'll see he's a
Yeah.
slightly different color, darker, more true orange. Which I thought was interesting. After 6 weeks of shooting, I noticed that you were using the yellow controller for Griff.
Yeah, I mean, I I picked up all the controllers out of the box, and I didn't see the orange one. I just saw the yellow one. I was like, well, that's kind of like
Even
Griff's
after all this time,
his
people are
sister's
still calling
controller.
Griff yellow.
No, well, I knew it was orange in the game. It's just I thought that was the orange sticker you had. I thought you had a more yellow sticker for sister, but obviously not. Fuck you.
And also, whenever the Griffs fade in, he shoots them at a low angle, right?
That's to hide the grid. I didn't want to have to mess around with the grid every time I spawn a Griff, because I didn't want to align the camera every time, so I just chose not to show it, which is why everyone's really low down in frame and shot from a low angle.
And here's Donut, or
Yeah,
is it?
I wanted to make the early appearances of Donut just like a slight glimpse where maybe most people would actually miss it. I kind of like that. Like, if Griff was to say, did you see that? And if people didn't see it, they might go back and rewind to see Donut appear. But this is when he's revealed.
Who was your favorite person to record with? Because you got to record Dan even now, too.
Dan was pretty funny. Get some great outtakes out of his stuff.
He's hilarious.
I'd say Matt as well. Matt's ad libs.
Whereas most people will normally have like a 5-minute voice file, Matt's will be 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Here you can see the difference in the colors of the griffs.
Yep.
Just slightly, so you can keep them apart in your head.
Just to avoid confusion. And there we go. That's Relocated.
Well, congratulations, Gavin, on a job very well done.
Thank you very much. I look forward to the story continuing.
On behalf of the Red versus Blue community, I would like to thank you for your service.
Your face is a butt.
Hey, that hurts.
I really appreciate you letting me do it.